I can't even send you up for a commercial. You played a tomato for 30 seconds. They went a half a day over schedule because you wouldn't sit down. Yes, it wasn't logical. You were a tomato! A tomato doesn't have logic. A tomato can't move.
That's what I said. So if he can't move, how's he going to sit down, George? I was a stand-up tomato, a juicy, sexy beefsteak tomato. Nobody does vegetables like me. I did an evening of vegetables off Broadway. I did the best tomato, the best cucumber. I did an on-deep salad that knocked the critics on their ass.
Michael, I'm trying to stay calm here.
Oh, no, you can't. Welcome to episode 94 of the Music Relish Show. We got 6 more to go. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about lots of good things as always. We're going to be talking about a Robert Fripp album. We're going to talk of Alice's Restaurant. Going to have our old segment, original versions of hit songs, music trivia, and lots of extra fun stuff. Random relish, as we always like. So, good evening, guys. Looking down at my computer, I see Perry next to me and Lou on the bottom. How you guys doing?
All right. What's up?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good, good. Happy Thanksgiving a few days late. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
Good Thanksgiving. Yeah,
It was good.
Great, good.
Still
good.
eating it.
Today, so am I. Today for me, I know a lot of music fans don't like sports, so I'll be really quick with this, but my Liverpool beat Man City, the unbeatable team, and they went 11 points up. They're at the top of the table. I hope they win it. They could win the Premier League.
And that was sports news.
That was sports.
And may their first child be a masculine child.
There you go. You'll never walk alone. So anyway, let's open this show up with some random relish. Perry, you got anything to talk about?
Yeah. Well, that thing, something to look at, not to talk about. Want to have a look at this?
That's what she said.
Yeah, it's a thing.
There he goes. Watch this.
Is that the real kiss? That's not the real kiss.
That is absolutely the real kiss.
That's Jim. Oh, no. This is for real?
That absolutely happened. But you could tell he's wearing one of those 80s wigs. You know what I
Louis
mean?
That's Louis the 14th.
That's an L.A. wig. That's one of those, like, you know what I
mean? That's Paul Stanley?
Yeah. Yeah.
What year?
I couldn't tell you. I would think 80s with that wig, you know?
That video, the video quality is pretty good. So I think it's one of those in the last 10 years myself.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a couple more random things we were talking about. Like this is one of them too. Like, there goes Bruce. But look, he can't get himself up. He has to be like, the crew has to come and lift him up.
Good night, everybody.
That's funny.
But also it happened to Keith. But Keith gets himself up. Keith can pick himself up, and he was probably Bruce's age when this happened, you know. Well, look, Keith just lifts himself up. He doesn't need
with the
two
guitar.
guys to come and lift him up like Bruce, you know.
Maybe because Bruce is like Elvis, he's not supposed to pick himself up.
Yeah, maybe.
The boss goes down, he stays down until you pick him up.
Nils Lofgren came and grabbed his guitar, grabbed his telly, so that he can.
I thought it was some kid. I thought there was some kid ran out there.
Yeah, I had two crew guys to come lift him up.
Nils was also mentioned in a recent thing about some of the less statuesque people in rock and roll. Didn't you mention Nils as far as being one of the smallest people?
I don't know.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, that was my random. That was my random stuff.
Falling with a guitar for me is one of the, like, if you fall with a guitar, all right, there's a couple things you got to think about. And same thing if you fall with a drink in your hand. All right, if I fall, will this guitar or drink hurt me on the way down? Glass could shatter, a guitar could screw you up. Am I going to take the hurt and protect my guitar or drink? That's my thing. I will protect my guitar or my drink.
This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
But seriously, I've fallen with a guitar, and it's like on the way down, you're like, how do I land? I fell once, and I was able to turn, you know.
If you're able to, yeah. Sometimes it's just a fall is a fall.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's
like
no time
Bob
to do
Stinson,
anything.
like Bob Stinson on the TV show, snapped his guitar in half, and the band had to lend him one for the SNL gig.
Oops.
He snapped it in rehearsal.
He broke it. Yeah.
Oh, he just okay. I thought maybe he fell on it.
I was drunk.
He did. Yeah, he broke.
Okay.
He fell on it. Yeah.
He fell fat on his face.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, that's all I had for random, guys.
Hey, you got anything, Lou, in random?
Yeah, another passing in the rock culture world. Alice Brock. I never knew Alice's last name until recently. She was the proprietor of Alice's restaurant, or Alice's Takeout, as it might have been known
Really?
back then. You know, the subject of the Arlo Guthrie song, the Alice's Restaurant Massacre.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, the story was, you know, it's Thanksgiving, so it's kind of appropriate, I guess. And as Alice's Restaurant is the Thanksgiving song, right? A lot of ways, some radio station will always play it. You know,
There's a couple of versions of it too. I mean, like 8 minutes of
yeah,
you know what I mean, like
finger picking.
yeah.
But yeah, there's Alice Brock, you know, residents of Provincetown. Yeah, she was an artist. You know, she was a rebel, part of the '60s counterculture, and yeah, she was a real fixture in that era. She owned several restaurants throughout the years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. She was at his wedding too.
Okay.
That's
She
her?
was at Arlo's wedding.
Oh,
yeah.
she's beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the wife.
Oh,
Alice
okay.
is the one with the glasses.
Probably
He
in the
He
background.
didn't marry Alice.
But you know, there was a movie made about it, and she did not like the way she was portrayed, and so she kind of, you know, throughout a lot of the
What was the
early
movie?
history,
What was the movie about?
it was called Alice's Restaurant. Arlo was in it. There's an actress I read about her in Marlon Brando's biography. I think they were close. Her name was Pat Quinn. She played the Alice Brock character.
I could never stand that I could never stand that song. It was just, I mean, you know, 17 minutes of talking and then you can have anything, you know. Like,
I'm amazed that he was able to do that whole story while playing the guitar.
Yeah, it's a cool story. I mean, it's tradition can be tradition.
yeah. Well, let's, you know.
I do like.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
Lenny
I wanna
Waronker
kill-
and Van Dyke Parks.
What's that?
Produced by Lenny Waronker and Van Dyke Parks.
It was. Well, that's pretty cool. On reprise, Sinatra snatched him up.
You put that song out on my label?
Well, that was under Warner. I was under the Warner Brothers banner, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One year I played it for Lou. I said, you know, growing up at some point, this song always came around, whether you're in the car or driving to grandma's house. And he was just not impressed. He was like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think when I was 12 or 15, that sounded like kind of old fuddy-duddy music to me in a lot of ways. Now you like it because you
that's why I never liked it, because when hearing that, like, first off, they didn't really play it on it was only FM radio. They're not playing it on an AM radio, you know.
Our local
You got to
station
chop an
W.
18-minute song down to 2 minutes.
Wasn't it the AM version?
There must have been an AM version.
It just
I
said,
would think,
I want to
right?
kill.
Kill.
Blood
Kill.
and guts and hair in my teeth.
Yeah, I think our local station, WNEW, they were the ones, FM station, that played the whole thing every year.
Right. Well, you know, Arlo and his friend, you know, they did a very unhippie ecological thing because they just jumped over this fence that's clipping on some private property. So that's why they got arrested and they had to get bailed out, and they had to do the cleanup over that weekend.
Wow.
And if you look on social media, there's always posts of the original article from the newspaper about him. His name's in there, getting arrested.
Well,
Jailbird.
And also, Alice, when she was married, when she had the first restaurant, her and her husband bought an old church and redid it. And she lived there for a long time, but Arlo ended up buying it. I think, you know, she fell upon hard times here and there. He bought it, and it's now some kind of cultural center with a performance space and stuff. But I think he goes back there and plays there frequently, or had, you know, stopped touring.
Arlo, yeah, he retired from singing. He's just living on his farm now. He's enjoying himself. And I follow him on Facebook, and it's good. But he got, you know, touring. He just got tired.
It doesn't have to go around the country.
Yeah, yeah.
And flying being it's an aero bus. So
I'm scared of flying.
It's a Greyhound with wings.
Any more on random, Mark?
Yeah. So, listen.
So
Well, go ahead.
Alice Brock, she died at she died at the age of 83,
Uh-huh.
and she developed some illnesses over the years. But she had an interesting life. She was a bit of an icon. She ended up embracing the kind of fame that she had. She resented the movie and all that stuff. So eventually she goes, well, people really know who I am. So how bad can that be? But she did a lot of cookbooks. Cooking was her passion. But yeah, interesting American cultural icon story.
What town actually did she live in?
It was I'm somewhere in Massachusetts. I forgot.
Provincetown.
Well, that's where she resided. But I think that the heyday of the restaurant was not in Provincetown, though. No, it wasn't.
It was in New England somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, it was in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I just, in my mind, it's always Woodstock, and I know it's not Woodstock,
Okay.
but I just,
Kind of like it.
Yeah.
I tried seeing if I could rent the movie on Prime, but I couldn't find it.
It's one of those things. They know that people want to see it. Will pay to see it. That really.
Oh,
want to
speaking
see it.
of that, randomly, there's this documentary on HBO about yacht rock. I watched 8 minutes of it. It's complete. Couldn't even watch it. It's it's complete bullshit. A bullshit category, and
it's genius. I bet
soft rock. Yeah.
I don't think
is
the
Starbuck
yacht
in
rock.
it?
We've talked about this. I think the designation it's good because you're not going to get anything that taxes your mind out of yacht rock. So I think for that reason, it's like I was thinking of this when you listen to a yacht rock song.
Well,
your mind's
look it
not
up
going
on
to everything.
HBO.
Yeah, I will. But
Yeah.
I think it's the perfect term for it because if you're sitting on a yacht, unless you own it, but if you're relaxed.
Well,
so it's not going to challenge you.
Boats. It has nothing to do with boats.
I know what
I'm
I'm drawing a correlation.
Yeah, it was a derogatory term. Some people, like younger people, most likely, put upon music of the classic rock era that rich guys like. I always said that was Steve Winwood in the '80s. I always said the yuppies were all about Steve Winwood in the '80s, maybe not the '70s or the '60s.
Made my point. Thank you. Yeah,
I'm the same boy.
Meaning what? What point? What do you mean?
I mean, Steely Dan. Eric, what's his name? The guy who started the first yacht rock song.
Christopher Cross,
Michael McDonald, Doobie Brothers.
Perry, but you're not as subjective about it though. It's like it's bands that you don't like, but for people that do like them, it's I don't think it's something that's necessarily offensive to them or just bad music. It's a wide category.
Documentary about it,
Yeah, but I do notice like some of the bands that do call themselves like these yacht rock reviews, they're a little more cruise shippy than I would. I mean, Pablo Cruz could play on a cruise ship, and I'm sure they have and do.
I'm sure they do. Yeah,
but I mean, there's aspects of yacht rock I like because I like Steely Dan. I'm not a Christopher Cross fan. He should be in America, taking Dan Peake's place. But
personally, I just don't understand putting Steely Dan in that category.
Yeah.
I never did. I could see putting Toto. I get it. Doobie Brothers.
Well, I think but Steely Dan have a pretty sophisticated audience.
Yeah,
I could see drinking some fine cognac and listening to with some fine Colombian. The fine
Colombian what? Oh, okay. We're getting a little personal here. But I will check that documentary out, Perry. If I make it over 10 minutes.
I'm not recommending it. You're going to waste your time, dude. I'm telling you. Yeah. I couldn't get 8 minutes of it, and I said, fuck this.
I'll report back to you next week.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
It's on Hobo.
I will wait the whole show just to see if Starbuck does Moonlight Feels Right.
No.
The greatest yacht rock song.
So anyway,
ever.
on the show I like to talk about remixes a lot, and my thing is like I always talk about Steven Wilson when he remixes an album. He doesn't change a thing; he just runs it through new equipment. Then you get remixes in which they remix with the intent of changing the sound of the album. So a couple weeks ago, Queen's debut album came out, totally remixed, not by Steve Wilson, and Brian May and Roger Taylor had a big part in it. What happened on their first album? There's two things that Roger Taylor, the drummer, didn't like about it. Number one was Trident Studios wouldn't let him bring his own drum kit in. And the drum kit that they had in the studio was all taped up because every single recorded in Trident Studios was supposed to have the same drum sound. So it put some clarity into me, like, all right, so this guy's bashing away and he's on a kit that's meant for pop tunes and AM, whatever, Also, Roy Thomas Baker was there right from the beginning doing his Roy Thomas Baker drum sound. And if I read between the lines of what Taylor said, I just don't think he liked, especially on that first album. They were like they were a young band. They were doing whatever they were told. So I listened to it. I didn't buy it because right now the only way you can get the first album remixed is in a deluxe box set for like $100. I don't need 40 demos of each song on the first album. It's So if it comes out in a single version, I'll get it. But I did hear it on Spotify. Whoa, it is night and day. And this is like I've always said, I don't like Roy Thomas Baker's drum sound. Well, there is an immunization shot that will get rid of Roy Thomas Baker's drum sound. They successfully got rid of the Roy Thomas Baker drum sound.
Was it his drum sound or was it the engineer's drums? You know, I mean, was it like Jeff Emmerich's? You know what I mean? Like
I was wondering who the engineer at Trident was.
Well, Roy Thomas Baker does have a drum sound, and we heard it on Foreigner's Head Games.
But the kid he was playing, Roger Taylor was playing, was the doctored up, taped up studio kid.
Yeah. It's their debut album. They got nighttime studio time. They recorded after gigs all night. You know, they just got what they could get. But Roy Thomas Baker has a drum sound. You know. So anyway, I just want to give you a sample though of what the best idea of it is. The beginning of Liar has a nice little drum fill, and I'm going to play you first the original sound with Roy Thomas Baker's production. I hope it's not too hot. Did you hear that?
No.
Okay. Going back there.
I hear nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
I have nothing.
You mean
I'm
nothing.
empty.
You
I'm
say
empty.
nothing. Here we go.
Sounds like a cardboard box, man.
Right? You hear that, right? Okay.
I don't think it sounds like shit.
Yeah, it sounds like it's overcompressed.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh. There's
So that's the
tom-toms there.
sound.
I would call that tom-tom sound flubby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flubby.
So when they remixed it, I'll tell you what. This is what Roger Taylor got out of it. And here we go. Listen to this.
Still sounds bottomy, but it's a little bolder.
Much more resonant.
I think you're hearing what the studio sounded like, whereas Roy Thomas Baker compressed the crap out of it.
So who
You
did
know?
the remix on it?
I'm not sure. Don't have that technical info in front of me, but the remix was done under the supervision of Brian May and Roger Taylor. The whole album, it's not just the drums. There's a song called Night Comes Down. It sounds so different. So some people are not going to like it because it sounds a lot different. I walked in the kitchen when the advanced single came out, and Anthony's playing something while he's cooking, and it sounds like Queen. He goes, "It is Queen." I'm like, whoa, it was The Night Comes Down, but just a remix can totally redo an album. So some people are going to say I like the original better, but I've never liked that drum sound. Queen, up until they started getting other producers, 70s, I never liked Roger Taylor's drum sound. It was always too.
That's one of the things that when I heard Queen early on, I didn't like. You know, I think he's he's a great drummer. It's not him. It's the sound. Same thing with the Cars.
Roy Thomas Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like David Robinson as a drummer. I think he's a really good, solid rock and roll drummer. You know, kind of creative, but it's that boxy, thuddy chunk.
Yeah.
It sounds like you can't do fast rolls on the tom-toms because the skins are too loose. The skins.
I call it bunk.
The eds.
That's what it sounds like, bunk. Right?
They're flub.
And when I used to play Candy O, I said this on the show before. When I used to play Candy O on my old sound system, I thought I was blowing the speakers. It was just that's the way he recorded the drums.
You've said that.
I'm like, oh
Yes,
no.
they're peaking.
Yeah, so
Peaked in the 80s.
Peakinator. Yeah, so that's that. I've listened to the whole thing. I give it a really good thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, although it's totally different. But it's nice to hear these old recordings. If you can improve limitations, in my opinion. Some people like the limitations of the original sound.
A purist will be a purist.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm okay with this. This is good too. And
remember the time we all, kind of lauded the Beatles' Red and Blue remixes?
Yeah.
Because it sounded great without headphones.
Right.
You could just tell the difference. Perry, you were saying there was an acoustic guitar on one of those songs that you never heard before.
Yeah. Yep.
That's I still put that on the Red and the Blue albums.
I do too.
Still amazed by it, So
it's fresh. It still sounds fresh and new.
Yeah.
Even before the remixes, but definitely,
yeah. All right. So anybody else have any other random?
Nope.
Well, I do. Well, I do.
Okay.
Have you guys ever heard of Tommy Alsop, guitar player?
What's up?
Tommy Wessup, rockabilly swing guitar player.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, just got a few little fun facts. I was I heard Gary Lewis and the Playboys, "This Diamond Ring." The song intrigues me. It's kind of corny and 60s as is. The song intrigues me just for the arrangement. And we know Al Cooper was one of the co-writers on that.
Mm-hmm.
Al Cooper, producer, keyboardist, extraordinaire, rock solid. He's a rock legend. He's in the Hall of Fame in some capacity too. He just got in recently, I think, didn't he? Last year.
I think so.
I think it was last year under some
I think so.
accomplishment category. Anyway, so when I looked up, the producers and the engineer on that, it was Snuff Garrett produced it, Bones Howe engineered it. But I was looking at who played guitar, and I saw it was Mike Deasy of the Wrecking Crew and Tommy Allsup, excuse me, who I thought I'd heard from like Buddy Holly. I think he was a Texas guy.
Yeah, we did a thing on Mike Deasy one time.
Yeah, but fairly recently, yeah.
Yeah.
We wrote a very hateful song, but we don't have to talk about that. So I've some fun facts on Tommy Allsup. I think he passed away in 2017. He played lead guitar on Buddy Holly's "It's So Easy." So that lead guitar solo, that's Tommy Allsup. And "Lonesome Tears," that's a Buddy song. I don't know how it goes. And also in conjunction with Buddy Holly, he lost a coin toss with Richie Valens to either get on the plane or not get on the plane. So he lost the coin toss, but didn't lose at all.
Wow.
And investigators thought that when the plane crashed, they thought Tommy also died in there because he lent Buddy Holly his wallet because Buddy Holly didn't have an ID and wanted to pick up some kind of sealed letter somewhere at the next destination. So in the wreckage, they found his wallet. And so I wonder if there was any kind of rumor, if there was a phone call home, like Tommy's gone,
Yeah.
But like Waylon Jennings, it just could easily have been him.
Right.
And he played lead guitar in some Ventures, and he did some songwriting for the Ventures. And this is the coolest thing. He produced the Zager and Evans hit in the year 2525. He was the producer of that. And I got a little trivia question about that song. What was the Billboard Hot 100 placement of Zager and Evans 2525? What did it hit in the top 10?
I thought it hit number 1.
Perry says number 1.
Number 4.
Perry's correct at number 1.
Wow.
It's a one-hit wonder and a one-take wonder because they did it in one take.
Yeah, yep.
And he was the last surviving member of Buddy's touring band. And was it what they call that? The Winter Dance, 1959 Winter Dance Party. So he was the last surviving member of that. But that's Tommy Allsup. And he was a cricket.
Cool.
He was a dang cricket.
Chirp, chirp. Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. I thought he was more of when you said his name, I was thinking more jazz. I don't know why. So, but anyway. So moving on. And if I start to cough, forgive me. I got my candle going. I shouldn't have let that.
I just had a fit.
I want to talk about a quirky guitarist that I mentioned all too much on this show, Robert Fripp. Robert Fripp is a guitarist at King Crimson. And this week I finally bought, after all these years, I bought his only proper solo album, Exposure. So I'll just give a little background on this album. This came out in 1979. Now in 1974, King Crimson imploded, split up. Fripp quit the music business. He said, I'm never playing again. He took courses in psychology, whatever. And in 1977, he was pulled back in when Brian Eno asked him to play on David Bowie's Heroes album. Mm-hmm. And he got the bug back in him. Then he played session guitar on Peter Gabriel's first solo album and toured under the pseudonym Dusty Rhodes and concealed himself on stage. Also in that band was Tony Levin. That's how they met up. After that, he played and produced Gabriel's second album, which is called the Scratch album. It's the one where he's got the hands coming down. That same
called
year,
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, first 4 albums for Peter Gabriel?
Something like that.
Yeah. That same year, Robert produced Daryl Hall's first solo album, Sacred Songs. They developed a friendship, very good friendship, the two of them. RCA shelved the album, said that it would offend Daryl Hall's pop fans. And it wasn't really a weird album. It was a very rock and roll album, but, so it got shelved for 3 years. Around this time, as you can see in the picture, Robert Fripp moved to New York City, and he lived in Hell's Kitchen. And he was a part of that vibrant, coming up, that punk scene that was going on, Talking Heads, the Roaches, all that, and he just delved himself into that. During this time, he was gradually recording this album, Exposure. But also during this time, you got to remember now, he appeared on stage with the Roaches multiple times. He produced their first and third albums.
Yeah.
He played on a Blondie album, well, just on one song. He played on Talking Heads' Fear of Music. So he was really in the pop scene, I guess, whatever you want to call that.
Produced 2 folk records.
That I didn't know. You got me.
Was it the Roaches, ROH?
The Roaches, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the trio of singing sisters from Park Ridge, New Jersey.
That's it. That's who he was with.
And
it was. Oh, so that was they were a folk act.
And there's a picture of him with Deborah Harry where he looks like a member of Blondie in the picture.
He does.
So that was taken at, and I should have specified, he did a screen test for a movie. I don't know if he appeared in it, but he did a screen test for him and Debbie Harry to appear in a movie, and I can't read it because I don't have my glasses on. I should have prepared on that one, but that's a great picture. I love that
Mark,
picture.
you should do your homework, dude.
Damn it, I didn't do it in Zion, and I'm not doing it now. So anyway.
You were wearing glasses.
You're getting old when the glasses don't help. If you knew the font size of my script here. So anyway, doing Exposure, when he did the album, he had Daryl Hall. All the vocal tracks, with the exception of one track, were Daryl Hall. Of course, he called him.
Is this Fripp with the Roaches?
That's Fripp with the Roaches, yeah. It's a good picture. That's at the bottom line that picture was taken.
Cool.
So he was just walking around the city.
Well, yeah.
So he put Daryl Hall on the album. And again, when it came time to release, or when the tapes were played, RCA objected to Daryl Hall being on the album. They said it would scare his pop fans away. So they got to convince him to pull back and only put Daryl on 2 songs. Then he replaced Daryl's vocals with Peter Hamill. I don't know if you know who he is. He's from Van de Graaff Generator. Very grating singer. He doesn't sing, he yells, but
what kind of music was it? Like, what kind of rock? Was it hard rock?
I'll tell you. It's another thing. Like, the album also features the drummers Phil Collins, Narada Michael Walden, and Jerry Marotta.
Wow.
So it's a good cast of drummers on it. Most are Narada and Jerry Marotta. Narada and Marotta.
Hello, Father.
And Tony Levin plays bass on the whole album.
It looks like a young Peter Gabriel with
he appears
Fripp.
on the album as well. Yeah, he's on the album. He sings one song, a piano song, very nice, quiet song. The album, the styles of music on the album, what makes it very interesting is it runs the gamut. It's got some Red era riffs. Now, King Crimson's Red album had very blocky, heavy riffs. So there's a couple of that's on some songs. He's got like punky pop on some songs. He's got his Frippertronics on a lot of songs, which is the soundscapes and everything.
Recorded at the Hit Factory.
Hit Factory, yep. Over the course of a few years, So definitely, like, you don't think of that scene, Robert Fripp being there, but he was there, He considers this album to be the third in a trilogy. The first would have been Peter Gabriel's second album that he produced. The second would be Daryl Hall's album, Sacred Songs. And then he said this was the completion of the trilogy. There's a couple songs on the album that appeared on Daryl.
Do you have any
Peter's
samples of this Fripp record?
So I got some samples for you in each style, and I want you to hear it. Just so you know, though, the album he won his war. In 2006, he re-released it with a second disc, which I got here, where all Daryl Hall's vocals are reinstated, and I do prefer Daryl Hall to Peter Hamill. So anyway, here's one cut for you. This is like the power pop, whatever, and it is Daryl Hall on vocals. It's called "You Burn Me Up Like a Cigarette." Can't you see Daryl Hall dancing across?
Sounds like the 70s, to me.
Yeah.
What Chuck Berry kind of. I wouldn't think Robert Fripp would write something that almost seemingly pedestrian sounding kind of.
I know, but again, look who he was playing with at that time. So this one is more for anyone that doesn't know what Frippertronics is. This is a song called "Disengage," and this is a good example of the soundscapes he got.
that we
Basically a loop.
Mm-hmm.
Nebo.
Creative.
Is Frippertronic something he invented? Is it a pedal? Is it a synthesizer?
That was what it was called. Like
He would sample. So yeah, he would layer and sample.
But he would use tape machines and all sorts
Okay.
of things. Yeah.
And as soon as digital,
It was like
Go
a
ahead.
series of boxes, like a pedal board. It was,
back in the early 70s, it was different. Late 70s, early 80s, it started to get digital. And he does tours where he just does that stuff, and he would just play for 45 minutes. And he put a ton of albums out of that kind of sound. It's great music to play.
they call him Fripper.
So this song is the song that got
With
me into the
Frippertronics.
Under the sea.
on 8-track tape. So Breathless is more of the King Crimson sound that this is the reason I love Robert Fripp. And by the way, it's Narada Michael Walden playing, and he is a powerful drummer.
Yeah, he is.
The guy you see on You're a Friend of Mine with Jackson Brown, that's not the same. It's the same guy, but totally different. Here we go.
Yeah.
Now, he will just do that riff for 4 minutes. Dun-dun-dun. That's what Red was like, very blocky.
Yeah.
I love it. And playing his Les Paul. So another one, we have North Star, which is a very quiet song. It's one of Daryl Hall's better vocal performances. Daryl Hall has, he's more rounded than we think. And listen to this.
We stare how far, how clear, how time.
Now, if you're familiar with the first reformed King Crimson album, Discipline, that sounds a lot like a song called Mate Kudasa. It's almost the same riff, strumming and everything. So when I first heard it, I'm like, wow, it's a precursor.
That's not something I don't think would alienate a Daryl Hall fan, that particular song.
I wouldn't think so either. Yeah.
It's not pop, though,
Sounds pretty soulful
It
to
doesn't
me.
have to be pop, Mark.
To a Hall & Oates fan, it might have to be. Or to RCA Records. Now, a Hall & Oates fan listening to this may not like this, because Terry Roach...
Yeah, but this is a Fripp record.
Okay.
This is a Fripp record.
Right.
So what would
what
have
we're
to do with
talking about is RCA Records told him, because
Own his ass.
yeah, they said pull Daryl off some of the songs. We don't want him on there. I don't know why they were so scared about.
They
Hall
knew
fans
nobody was
hearing
going to
it.
buy the record anyway.
Yeah,
Good, that's
You
a
know.
good point. I mean, really.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Especially
but
when,
then
you know,
again,
if it was a pop record, like, I was forbidden to sing with another band at one point.
Yeah, yeah. You were forbidden to go into the studio and work with me, right?
so was I. No,
I ignored it.
did you get sued? No.
Of course not.
This is the only album he has where he has a band. Like he's done tons of solo stuff, Frippertronics, soundscapes, whatever, collaborations. I find this album to be a fascinating insight into this point in his life. The band, Tony Levin wanted to stay on and form a band. Daryl Hall wanted to keep playing. He, like I said, he loved doing it. I think Daryl was really feeling confined by Hall & Oates. And they actually were going to make like a 4-piece band. Down the road, that 4-piece band ended up somehow morphing into King Crimson in 1981.
The Reformation.
Because it was called Discipline at first.
What year did this come out again? 79?
79, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right before the big heyday of Hall & Oates.
Yeah, they had like 1 or 2 hits right at that
Yeah,
point.
they had 2 big hits right before.
Yeah.
But, early 80s, early 80s, they were just a machine.
Before MTV,
Yeah.
then they exploded. Yeah.
Yep.
So I find it interesting that what made Daryl Hall, now, was it his desire to express himself differently artistically, or did he feel Hall & Oates weren't going anywhere? But why did he do a solo album with Robert Fripp? I think he was artistically just wanted to make a different statement.
Of course he is. He wants to evolve. He's an artist. Yeah. It had nothing to do with not being happy with Hall & Oates. They were about to explode on the scene, you know.
And he never did that again, because after that, all his solo albums were just the Blue-Eyed Soul, you know. But there's an artist in there that's different. He, on his show, Daryl's Place, he's pulled a couple of these songs from he did with Robert Fripp out.
We covered. We had a thing of Fripp playing with Daryl Hall on Daryl's house one time, some months back. Remember?
I don't remember.
When
Rock and roll's bad for the memory.
When you're that big, your management also influences your artistic directions. I was reading about John Landau's relationship with Bruce Springsteen, where he doesn't not only manage as a manager, but he's also as a producer, but musical direction. It was surprising. I think Bruce almost was mentored by him in a lot of ways.
Isn't John Landau the one that told him you're not going to stay at 914 Studios? That was Landau, right?
Yeah, I think at that point, Once Mike,
he used to write for Rolling Stone, oddly enough. So now he's in charge of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Yep.
Yeah, well, he was the quote, "I've seen the future of rock and roll, and its name is Bruce Springsteen." That was John Landau, and that got him the gig, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one of my favorite albums. When I get an album and I dig into it, I'm going to tell you about it. But Robert Fripp, Exposure. And by the way, another thing, an excellent package where it has a diary of Robert Fripp. Like he loves diaries, so you can read what he did every day. You know,
Dear Diary.
I love it. So anyway, Lou, is there something about Dutch pop?
Yeah. Isn't Music Relish Show have high approval ratings in the Netherlands? Don't we do well? We perform well there.
In Holland, we're number 171.
There we go.
In Holland,
The bullet.
Yeah.
We might even have some Dutch subscribers. So the other day in my car, driving in my car,
yeah,
that's what you do in your car, I heard a song by the band Shocking Blue of Venus fame called "Even the Apple." And at first, I liked the feel of it. I didn't know it was them at first. The name comes up. And I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it had almost a modern sound. I was like, I saw the name came up on my console. I thought, well, maybe this was some reformed or maybe some old, a more recent version of the band from like the late 70s, early 80s. But it was from 1972. It was cool because it had a garage rock feel. It had great guitar riff and really great vocals too, because Venus by Shocking Pink. That's a great vocal song. And so I said, well, okay, I didn't know much about them. I knew some about their hit.
Did you just say Shocking Pink?
Because they were on, did I say Shocking? I've done this before.
Because
Shocking.
they were on Pink Elephant Records in Europe
with a red label.
That's funny. Shocking Blue, forgive me, on Pink Elephant Records. They self-produced Even the Apple. But yeah, so I looked up Shocking Blue, and they said, I knew they were from Holland, the Netherlands, but it said that they're part of the Netterbeat scene. I'm like, oh, like a new musical term, like I like Italo rock, Euro rock, all kinds of little subgenres. So Netterbeat or Niederbeat was a genre of Dutch music.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear a quick sample of the song?
I would love to hear a quick sample of this song. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
That is a great little pop song.
It sounds like that could be a BOC song. That could be Patti Smith. That's why I thought it sounded. I thought it sounded very new wave. I sent it to our friend Sotmitter in Tennessee, and he knows Shocking Blue from the hit Venus, but he goes, I thought it sounded like later until he heard the keyboard, and then he thought it sounded 69. Yeah, so it's a genre of rock music that began in the mid 60s. With the Beatles and the Stones and all the bands coming there, and like everyone else in Europe and America and the world, it caught on with them. And it was kind of Holland's answer to American garage rock, because it's pretty raw, primitive, no elaborate orchestration, things like that.
Yeah, just because they had the one hit here in America, I'm sure they had hits in Europe
exactly
that we didn't know about. And
sure,
right,
that's a good point, because most of the bands in this genre did not have hits in America. Some of the records weren't even released here, but they had international hits, because we are not the only country in the world when it comes to music.
Right.
We've talked about bands like when REM stopped selling as big as they did in the late 90s. They were still selling. They were number one internationally in other areas. We just don't think outside our own shores sometimes. So some other well-known groups of that genre are Golden Earring. We know who they are, and we'll talk about them. The Motions, The Outsiders. There's an American band, The Outsiders.
George Koeman on lead guitar for Golden Earring.
That's right.
Yeah,
and he wrote one of their hits, and of course the band Shocking Blue. There's others.
Yeah,
but yeah, they were they were just Beatles dominated the charts, and these kids, for what they were playing before this, there was a whole new influence because they were playing another almost form of indigenous pop music called Indo rock, and it's a combination of Indonesian and Dutch, getting together, having families, and mating, and it's an interesting sound. It's kind of surfy, garagey. Not psychedelic. Yeah, instrumental stuff. I sent you guys a video of this band, the Teelmans, or the Teelman brothers, and it's wild. A showy drummer. I mean, these guys were performers, and they did have a pirate radio station called Radio Veronica that a lot of these young kids that heard that brought the sound over. Same thing in America. Some of those stations from Mexico, like Wolfman Jack. That's how you got the word around. Now, so that it was one of the earliest forms of Euro rock. So the Indo rock thing was a precursor to the Nederbeat because it's kind of a rock thing, but then they just added more like a Mersey sound or more of the other European influence to it. The Teelman brothers, you have a sample of that sound, Mark, or I sent you.
Yeah. So this song that I'm playing a sample of, people got to know is that I'm going to play like the main part, but there's some great bass and drum breakdowns in it too. But this is the main. Oh, go ahead. Cool.
Well, it's a fusion of Indonesian and Western music with roots in a thing called Kronkong music, which is Portuguese, Indonesian music. So really ethnic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Van Halen earlier. They're Indonesian and Dutch, but I wonder if this influenced them at all, or was it just bands like Budgie?
Well, I'm sure parts of the South Pacific like that were Dutch protectorates. Maybe at one point, right? And
yeah. Of the colonial days.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's here's a quick sample of it.
Rockabilly. Yes, it's called Rolling Rock.
Yeah. Good beer.
It's the best beer around. Name the movie. It's a Rolling Rock, a deer hunter.
Oh.
Do you have
and
another
by the
sample
way,
on that?
Here's the drum breakdown.
That's good. Now he's standing up playing this at one point. He's hitting the bass drum with his drumstick. Pretty wild.
That's good stuff, man.
And what year was that around?
That could
60s?
be late 50s, late 50s, early 60s. Because by the time the mid 60s came around, once the British invasion hit Europe and that in Holland, that's kind of supplanted that. Although they remain, the Teelman brothers, they continued playing well up until the modern age. But the Teelman brothers were a band called the Bintangs, Blue Diamonds. These were the well-known Indo rock bands before they became rock bands.
But these Dutch groups, it's interesting to me, like, the Shocking Blue. All right, so they had Venus, and I'm sure they had hits all over Europe, too.
Yeah.
Remember that other group, Focus, Hocus Pocus Focus, right?
Yeah.
They had a big hit here. I'm sure they had hits all over Europe that we don't know about, right?
Yeah, they're a one-hit wonder in America.
Right.
I would bet money on that one.
And Golden Earring, a two-hit wonder, right?
Two-hit wonder,
in this country, right?
Yeah, those are the well-known bands. And, there was the T-set. With
Ma Bellamy,
right? That wasn't that was more of a weird international pop sound. So those bands were well known, but the bands that weren't so well known, that kind of stayed more well known in Europe. Well, the Golden Earring was originally called the Golden Earrings, and when your wife wears golden earrings, and there was the In Crowd, Q65, which they were one of the few bands that they sang in Dutch. They actually sang in the native language, because I thought the Dutch bands did English very well. I thought I never knew Golden Earring was from Holland.
Yeah, Shocking Blue too.
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
a band called Het, Sandy Coast, The Motions. So Robbie van Leeuwen from them went on to form Shocking Blue, and he was a songwriter.
He wrote most of their songs.
Yeah, he wrote most of them. He did.
Yeah,
and the Shoes and Kubi and the Blizzards. The Outsiders, I mentioned them. Yeah. But actually, the Outsiders did an album called CQ in '68, went nowhere. Apparently, it's been called one of the best psychedelic garage rock masterpieces of all time. So I'm going to find that. And are you writing that down, Mark?
Yep.
It was the Outsiders. The album was called CQ, released in 1968, which definitely would be psychedelic.
CQ as in the letters CQ?
Yeah, CQ.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called a psychedelic and garage rock masterpiece.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. So that sound, the netter beat sound, changed toward the late 60s. I think it kind of peaked in the late 60s. It became more R&B oriented, more, different things. Golden Earring was a rock band. As we know them, we're a rock band.
I'm sure there's hundreds of bands all over Holland. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some other cool names. We mentioned the T-set, Les Baroques, the Buffoons. These bands were popular. The Buffoons, the Bumblebees, the Cats, Eddie Sons, Group 1850, JJ's, Johnny Kendall and the Heralds, the Phantoms, and Zen. But then there was Shocking Blue, from Venus.
Yeah. Yep.
They were formed. What's that?
You want to hear a quick snippet of CQ of the Outsiders? Here we go.
I love the beats. Yeah. Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
We're listening to the Netter Rock. Yeah.
That was 1968. Yeah.
And there was the Jarlsbergs.
Yeah.
That's a good beer. That's a good beer.
And the Vanderflufen. There's the Vanderflufen generator. What was that meant?
Vandercraft generator, which Pete Hamill, who sang on Robert Fripp. See, we're coming full circle
pork
here.
And beans.
Careful, Perry. Walter Dusseldorp, my buddy's listening, and he loves that stuff. He loves when you pick on his culture. So.
Was Vandergraaf, were they Dutch or were they
How
English?
am I picking on his culture?
Oh, don't make an argument out of it. I'm
you
saying
make fun of his little
it.
wooden shoes, did you?
He's got a big forehead.
Does he wear wooden shoes?
Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear when he were driving through Holland. He said,
"Oh yes, Holland. Does he have a windmill?
The land of big foreheads and big egos."
Did he ever stick his finger in it?
Did he ever stick his finger in a dike?
Thank you.
Give yourself a rim shot for that one.
This is going down the hill.
Folk. This
Dutch boy paint.
Dutch master cigars.
Right.
Why were they masters? We don't want to go there.
Because they could be.
They're colonialists at times, right?
Yeah,
like
put one and one together here.
Blood Diamond. Yeah.
All right, let's get back to topic here. So, Shocking Blue. They were the first Dutch band to hit the American top 10, top 5. Yeah. It was number one. Venus was number one.
Shocking Blue.
Venus.
Venus, yeah.
That's the Eve and the Apple.
Now, there's something interesting about that song, too.
What's that?
When they were transcribing that song into English, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you listen closely, Mark, maybe you can find the opening verse for the song.
Copyright.
It was transcribed as godness. It's supposed to be goddess, but if you listen closely, because it was written down as godness, Godness. So she wrote a godness on the mountaintop.
That's cool.
Yeah, because the transcription, somebody transcribed, one of the band members transcribed it.
Yeah.
Classic.
Wait, let me move
Starts
it a
with a strum riff is so great.
Yeah, she says godness.
There you go.
You hear that?
Godness on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Wow.
I think a good drummer too. I listened to their second album because she's not on the first album, their debut album. There was a guy lead singer. She said apparently they wanted to go in a different direction. They liked the Jefferson Airplane, so they wanted like a gray slick, kind of a striking female front person. And
I can see why they hired her.
Well, they got it with her, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She died though. She unfortunately she's not here anymore. Yeah.
No, in fact, I think most of the band except for Robbie Van Leeuwen have passed on.
Van Leeuwen.
I remember that because he played the bass player had like a longhorn bass, a Dan Electro longhorn bass.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember that song coming out and just There's this.
I love that
class.
song
It was
when
just
I
great.
came out. To this day, that's one of my go-to songs
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going to listen to like Venus, man. I love that song.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is their only hit in America. You know, they had
Right.
hits in Europe.
Of course, yeah.
They had a song called "Send Me a Postcard" that was covered. It's been covered a lot actually, but it was covered by Bob Mould in 2019 on his album Sunshine Rock. So he covered a Netterbeat tune. But this is the band, as that band, you know, the second album band. Mariska Veres on vocals, Robbie Van Leeuwen on guitar, sitar vocals, Klaas-G van der Waal on bass, and Cor Vanderbeek on drums.
There it is, Vander, yeah.
Van de Kamp.
Yep.
And they have an album. They have an album called Ham. How can you not like a band that has an album called Ham? I love that.
Yeah.
I think they did about 9 studio records.
Well, like Lou said, the doesn't evolve around America. You know what I mean?
No.
They have hits all over. Golden Earring had hits all over, many hits all over Europe. Yeah.
But
If
the
you limit
thing was-
yourself,
What's that?
If you limit yourself to just your like American top charts, you're missing a whole lot of music, right? Especially
a lot of
with
ways,
this. Yeah.
But the American market was a lot of times that's the market to crack because we were just so consumer oriented.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But even still, you don't have to come to America. And it, also, you know, with the internet now, everything's international. Bands don't sound like American bands so much anymore.
Yeah, it's all it's
right.
just the label, the music business. They've homogenized everybody, right?
Yeah. So I listened to their second record called At Home, and that's the one that has Venus on it. But on the Dutch release, Venus was not on it. All the other international releases, it was either opening side one or closing side one. But it's a cool sound because I love garage rock and I like simple. You know, there's little keyboards, music was so simple then.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? We forgot one of Holland's best exports, though.
Van Halen.
We mentioned it.
You did. So we did mention it.
You did mention it?
Yeah, there they are.
It's Hercus
It
Hercus
was
by
said,
Fergus.
that was their only hit in this country. Yeah.
And what a hit it was. But it was complicated.
Yeah.
I like
can't
the,
do it.
I like the live versions. You see, like them playing
Well,
on the
there's
rock.
the album version and there's the radio version. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how about a little knitter beat trivia?
Sure.
Go.
Okay. Well, I was going to talk about what was Shocking Blues Venus placement on the Billboard. But we know it was a number one. In how many countries did Venus top the charts? Multiple choice. Was it A, 15 countries, B, 9 countries, or C, 6 countries?
I don't know, 6 or 9. I'll say 9.
I'm going to be a big better and say 15.
Number 9.
Number 9?
Bonus question. Oh, no, never mind. What was the Billboard Hot 100 placement of Golden Earrings Radar Love? Was it A25, B6, or C13?
I think it was top 10, 6.
Me too.
Number 13.
Oh.
Okay.
Bonus question. What year was it released? Radar Love.
They were 10 years apart, 73.
We're talking Radar Love.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going to say 75.
73.
Perry.
Plays on a roll. What was the placement of what was the Billboard Hot 100 placement of Golden Earrings Twilight Zone? Was it A7, B number 1, or C10?
I hate that song.
You do, don't you?
It was a big hit because of MTV.
Big hit.
I'll say
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
top
before.
10. I'll say it was top 10 hit.
Well,
Not number
all-
one,
all
but
the
top 10.
numbers were top 10. So it was 7, 1, or 10.
7.
That was pre-MTV too, wasn't it?
No,
It was White Lion that was on.
It was on
right?
MTV. Remember the
Oh,
pistol?
it was. Oh, I didn't see the video.
Guy sitting in a
Okay.
chair. Thing.
I'm going to go with 7.
It was a number 10. It hit the top
Oh.
10.
Cool.
Bonus question. What year was it released?
83.
Nope.
All right, so it's not a 70s song. For some reason, I thought it was 70s.
No.
So White Lion only covered it like 5 years after they released it. All right, I'm going to go with 82.
Mark is correct. It was 1982.
Jeez.
And that wraps up knitter beat music. Cool category, you know. Wasn't a lasting thing, I guess, but I think
Very good
Holland
music.
has done their bit for rock and roll.
I'm going to listen to some of these bands, like more of Shocking Blue.
Well, I listened to the second record at home. That's the first one with Mariska on vocals. It's a good
Shocking
record. Is it
Pink. I
interesting?
like Shocking Pink. I like them.
Yeah, Shocking Pink were great on Blue Elephant Records.
I have a trivia question.
You do.
Who's this guy? Who's this dude?
Yeah, check out the second record, Mark.
And
At
one
home.
thing I want to say, Walter Dusseldorp, if you're listening, email us and tell us other bands from that musical era that we could listen to, because he grew up and he's my age. He's 55, so we should get some other ideas from him.
Good kid.
Yeah.
That is Mac Davis.
Mark?
Who was Mac Davis?
Tommy Aldridge, the drummer for Ozzy Osbourne.
This is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mac Davis.
It's Terry Jacks.
He's got sideburns. Really nice
That's
sideburns.
Terry Jacks. Here's a trivia question.
How do you do that riff on guitar?
This British band received heavy airplay in the 1970s in the United States with this song, even though it wasn't released as a single. Can you name this British band and their big song? It was never released as a single.
All right, can I ask you, Perry?
Yeah.
Can I ask
I know.
first if it's the band?
Mhm.
Or no, I'm just gonna make a guess.
No, you could ask a question. Go ahead.
Is it Foghat?
No.
Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven.
The answer is
The Who. Ah.
Does anybody remember Laughter?
that it wasn't released as a single.
Correct.
I think in the 90s they may have finally released it as a single. But it wasn't really, and that was on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had an idea for like an SNL skit where like a garage band's playing that, and the drummer always comes in with the drum fill too early.
I'm sure that happens a lot with,
You just gotta forget where it was.
Here's a trivia question. Okay. What Canadian rock band was fronted by Miles Goodwin? Quarterflash, April Wine, Blue Rodeo, or Anvil?
April 1.
April 1.
That's what you say, April Wine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Miles Goodwin. The answer is
Good
Riff
band.
Rock.
April Wine.
April Wine.
Well, I heard Geddy Lee in there.
Yeah, the high scream. Yeah, they're more of a hard rock boogie. Like I think they were like Sign of the Gypsy Queen were there like aberrations for them.
Well, they started out as a boogie bar band, and then in the 80s they got into the heavy metal scene. So they started to do that heavy metal sound. But Miles Goodwin, I read part of his biography, and he talks about, this is what we forget about Canadian bands. When they would do a bar gig in
They drink
February,
lots of Moosehead.
it was like 20 below. He's talking about a gig in Edmonton, going into a bar, it's 20 below. Like, it's fucked up, you know? That's a tough gig, you know? You getting your guitar out in that weather, and yeah.
Keep it in tune.
Yeah.
But they're a good band. They were good. Their first or second album was totally different. Like they went through a few styles before they settled on that bar sound. And they're a little more talented than I thought. I deep dived on them one night. Yeah.
They have a serious history.
Yeah.
He's probably the constant at this point, or if he's still
I don't think he's
around.
alive. I think
I think from that picture that was up there, I guess they played what was called chest rock.
Yeah.
Did anybody
I
have
got
a
a
shirt?
chest.
Did anyone have any buttons on their shirts in the 70s or zippers or anything?
Paul Stanley started that.
He did.
No, he started Wigs.
His chest.
No,
wig
no,
came
he
up.
didn't.
His chest wig came off.
My favorite guitarist started Wigs in rock. So anyway, is that all trivia you got?
That's it.
Well, I've heard through the some backdoor talk that we have a kind of a cool video of one of my favorite blues guitar players, Freddie King.
Freddie
And
King.
I love to hear me some Freddie.
Freddie King.
Freddie King.
Big influence on
Years
Clapton.
ago. It's one of the swingest things I ever heard. It was called Hideaway. Could you do it for us tonight? Right. Go, man.
Great tune.
That's a 335 Gibson, right?
And that is a tricky
Look
lick
at the guy
to
in the
play.
Rickenbacker behind him.
No pick.
Close
Oh,
thumb.
thumb pick. Chicken picking.
What?
That's a Rickenbacker bass. Hello?
Upper
The
left
bass
corner.
guitar?
Did you say Rickenbacker?
Well, there's guys playing a Rickenbacker guitar.
Oh, behind him.
Yeah.
Oh, him. I didn't see him.
Right? See that?
Yeah.
And
Who's playing?
There's another guy playing a 335 in the back
In the
also.
background.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of guitars.
You got no flipping bass player. Like the
Well,
Rascals.
there's a bass player in there. Yeah, he just might not
Who
be
the
on
hell is he?
camera. Yeah.
Oh.
Trivia question.
3 guitar
What's the
players. That's a lot for the
what's
blues,
the,
isn't
What's
it?
the Grand Funk Railroad song that mentions Freddie King?
We're an American
Bad
band.
time for being in love.
No, American Band.
Yeah.
What's the line?
Up all night with Freddie King. I got to tell you,
Oh, really?
poker was his thing. Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's
Big
see.
influence on Clapton. Big influence on Clapton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's from Texas, but I think he moved up to Chicago.
That
You know?
song you're playing, Clapton covered, and he had a great cover of it when he was in the '60s. This is such a good.
Yeah,
tune.
this was a big hit. It was called what? Hideaway, right?
Hideaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Let's
look at
see.
his watch
at
his
who?
thumb when he's playing. Like he's got the thumb pick there. He's got a very unique way of playing.
Yeah, but he uses his fingers too, his index finger.
Yeah. Very tame guitar sound.
This is some old TV show from 1966, I believe.
Oh, cool.
I love that they're all moving. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum.
Well, there's a riff, huh?
Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. Bow. Oh, this song's in my DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry
drum
to be
kit.
singing along with it. I can't sing, but that's a great tune.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 more Freddie King.
Look like a champagne sparkle drum kit.
It
Champagne
did. Yeah, well,
Supernova.
they're the band on the TV show. He's the musical guest. That's not his band. That's the
Oh, okay.
on
Oh.
the TV show. That's the.
I was wondering whether
backing
there were
band.
3 guitar players.
Yeah. Yep.
Were they
I
Skinner?
don't think the others are plugged in.
Yeah. Let's see, man. Yeah, he's using his thumb. Yep.
Very, very unique.
You can see humbuckers, 2 pneumatic bridge, right?
Yep. He's definitely playing neck bridge pickup now.
Go-go dancers. I mean,
Cool.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Oh, there's the bass player. Yeah. Yep.
Look at me. I can't stop
Okay.
moving.
And the piano player. Yeah. Go, Freddie, go.
I'm going to break my chair. I'm moving. I can't stop.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that was in the mid-'60s.
Now, who was the guy that brought him on? That was
He was the host of the show.
Who's that
He's
cool
the-
cat? Was that an American show?
Yeah, probably it came out of Texas or Louisiana or something.
A local show.
Yeah, local show. Yep.
He was like a.
It's a King
He
Biscuit
wasn't
hour.
that. There was a unique thing with Clapton because he kind of introduced a lot of people like me to blues, and there were some contemporaries of his that were not much older than him, like Buddy Guy and Freddie King. Freddie. Then he had like the John Lee Hookers that he worshipped that were a lot older than him. But he just like Buddy Guy. I think he might be Eric Clapton's age if I'm thinking right. He was a young guy in the 60s.
Well, Freddie King died like at 40-something years old.
Yeah.
Did the 3 Kings ever get to make a record? The 3 Blues Kings? BB, Freddie, and who was the other one?
Maybe. Who knows?
Who's the other kid? BB King, Freddie King,
We
God.
3 kings.
Albert King. Albert.
Yeah.
Albert King.
Good question.
And
Kings.
Perry King, the
They
actor.
did I thought they did a Christmas album. It's 3
Perry
Kings.
King.
Perry King. The actor.
Nobody's
No,
that
Perry
good
King.
an actor.
Perry King, the doily maker.
Go, Freddie, go, man. Yeah, look at that gold. You're right. It's like a champagne drum set.
I could
Champagne
listen
Sparkle.
to this
Super
Yeah.
all
yellow.
day.
Here, go watch. Yeah, that set has mid 60s, written all over it, man. You know.
Yeah.
He's a blues guitar player that had more of a virtuoso type of style, whereas like a John Lee Hooker was all feel, because John Lee Hooker would come out of it with a guitar out of tune, just strum. Whereas that's a virtuoso playing. He's got a little bit of chicken picking influence in there, and it's really good stuff.
It's almost
Sure.
Peter Gunn.
It goes in. The rhythm changes. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
that's
dun,
what he
yeah.
was doing. He was just having fun with it. Yeah.
Peter Gunn. And then when Clapton covered that song, he did it faithfully, but he had slightly more distorted sound. So that dun 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 dun, dun was really like, this sort of, but nothing beats the original.
You want to hear some other versions of some songs?
Hey Perry, I was going to ask you as a host, do we have some original versions of hit songs?
Well, I don't know if you'd call them original versions. For instance, if I say the song Blueberry Hill, you're going to say, what are you going to say?
Fats Domino.
You're going to say Fats Domino, right?
Yeah.
When did Fats Domino record it? Mid 50s, maybe something like that, right?
Probably.
Right. Sammy Kaye recorded it in 1940.
Swing and Sway
Wow.
with Sammy Kaye. My father used to listen to that radio show.
On Blueberry Hill.
Yeah, that sounds like On Top of Old Smoky.
Yeah.
Berry Hill. Yep. And one of the singing cowboys also recorded it in 1941, Gene Autry.
I found my thrill
OK Records.
on Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill. When
Okay Records.
Yeah.
So in other words, Fats Domino didn't write that song. He's most famous for it, obviously. But it's like
Did he write any of his hits?
I don't think so.
Like when I'm chubbing? Yes, indeed, I'm chubbing.
I'm walking. Yes, indeed, I'm walking.
Okay, so the history
What
of
you
that
gonna
song
do
is
when I go?
Sammy
I
Kaye was the
wanna
first
walk
one to
you.
record it. He was
Yeah,
the first
1940,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Swing and Sway
Glenn
with Sammy
Miller.
Kaye.
Glenn Miller peaked at number 2 on the pop singles chart in 1940 with his recording. So he did it too.
Yeah, see, it's one of those songs that had been recorded by so many people.
And it was
It's a
composed
guaranteed
by
hit.
Vincent Rose composed it. I've never heard of him.
Up your nose with a Vincent Rose.
Now, I have another song, and I know that you guys have heard this because this has been recorded by many other artists, too. The Hollies had a big hit with it, but this is the original version.
Oh, God, I love this.
Albert Hammond.
Did he write it?
I like that, and I'll tell you,
Nice.
when like with the Hollywood goes, the guitar goes bam, bam, in his version he goes ba ba ba, he does la la or ba ba.
He does it
what I mean?
vocally?
He sings through it. Yeah, yep.
Isn't that onomatopoeia?
I don't know. How long have you been waiting to slip that into a conversation, Lou?
Automatic peer?
Oh, so Albert Hammond wrote it.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
he wrote it with someone else. Yeah,
Yeah,
Michael Hazelwood.
with Hazelwood. Yeah, another
What is
famous
Albert
name.
Hammond's
Yep.
big hit? What's his big hit? Great
It
song.
never rains in California, but girl, don't they warn you?
What famous band, modern current band, is his son Albert Hammond Jr. in?
Yeah,
The
that
Strokes.
The Strokes.
The
yeah,
Strokes.
yeah. He's the guy that tucks the guitar under his armpit. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are just so great. I remember reading an article about them. Well, one guy tucks the guitar. Like, who gives a shit where the guy tucks his guitar, dude? We're talking about. What
I
I
hope
mean?
he wears
So in other
deodorant.
words, they're talking about the image already by just talking about where he tucks his guitar.
You know what's funny about the Strokes? They get together once a year, I think, and play one gig every year on Governor's Island, and it's sold out, packed. Like these guys, they don't have to play, and they might do an album. Might take them 5 years to do an album. And it's funny is
Have
their
they broken
fans they just go out. My son-in-law is one of their big fans.
So
He
is
lives in
Louis.
Georgia.
Louis
So
likes
he's
him
in
too.
Georgia. He will fly up here for the next Governor's Ball where they play, and he'll fly up here just to see the show.
Yeah, I can see like when they first came out, kids were looking for something a little edgier, or they, they thought, I don't really like them, but
Had a couple catchy songs, but
yeah.
Well, they really borrowed from Tom Petty for one of their hits, man, right?
Yeah.
Which one's that? Running down a
They
dream.
pretty much took American Girl and,
Really?
took that riff.
Yeah, but don't say that in a room full of Strokes fans.
Why?
I
Mark.
got roundly criticized for saying
Yeah, well,
it.
I don't gab on the internet and get
They
into
got,
arguments
no,
with
no.
people.
It's not. It's music is all an influence, and so they borrowed. Your band's borrowed. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Who's
My
borrowing
bands
and
didn't
who's
live on the
borrowing?
Upper East. My
Do you know that
bands
pop-
didn't live on the Upper East Side.
Do you know that Papa Was the Rolling Stones was recorded before the Temptations?
Really?
Yeah, remember
thought-
that? Remember
By
that
Harry
group?
McClintock.
No, remember that group? Remember that group, The Undisputed Truth, Smiling
Yeah.
Face? Well, they recorded Papa Was the Rolling Stones before the Temptations.
Wasn't that a Holland Dozier Holland?
It was a Whitfield and Strong.
Huh.
Yeah,
Undisputed Truth. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
This is a pretty rocking version.
Gordy Records.
Yeah, yeah. Motown. Yeah.
What was their other hit?
Smiling
Smiling
faces.
Now you recognize that guy's voice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
keyed me. I just couldn't think of the song.
But their version is a
Beware.
pretty rocking
Yeah.
version, man. Yeah, because it's not. They're not like a vocal group
vocal
like
group.
the Temptations were.
Right.
You
It's
know?
got to be
Yeah.
broken up, and all
Yeah,
the Temptations did it great. Oh, what was Whitfield's first name? Bobby
Norman Whitfield.
Norman Whitfield. He wrote
Yeah.
a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want?
Oh yeah.
You want to have? You want to? You want
We
to
should
have
make old
some
Norman
fun?
Hitfield.
We
Called Esh.
with well, let's just look at. We've talked about this so many times in the past as to what can kill a career. So what the hell,
Taking your
dude?
shirt off in a music video.
There
Yep,
you
there you
go.
go. I knew it.
I mean,
God.
it's like, dude, what are you doing? Apparently, look, rip
never
the
gets
shirt.
old.
How cliche.
He throws like a pair of panties in.
Perry, you're wrong. He was trying to show his anger at a
Look,
woman
look,
that
look,
wronged
look.
him. No. He was.
What are
it's
you
a
doing,
serious.
dude?
Oh, that is the word. That is the
Oh,
worst
look.
right there.
Oh, wait,
It's a
there's a stripper
There you go.
pole, too. Why don't you grab the stripper pole?
It's a serious. There you go. Nipples.
What are
Nipples
you
for you.
doing?
Nipples
Stop
for me.
defending it.
Nipples for everybody.
Mark, stop defending it.
I'm joking. He's trying to demonstrate something in this video
Now,
that he was.
apparently, I've read that
Nice try, man.
Capitol
I hate
Records was behind it. They said, apparently it was his idea, but he gave it to this choreographic
Yeah.
producer
The
who was a
director.
choreographer.
He's a
And
director
Billy
now.
Squire's girlfriend told him, "This is going to ruin you.
Wow.
Don't
Really?
do it." And she was right.
Yeah.
And this is why people to this day think he's gay,
Yeah.
because of this. You know,
I
I
mean,
mean,
might have
it's
been-
hard not to. I mean, I think that's how he lost a lot of his male fans because,
he did. Yeah.
yeah, and the guy he was writing a Crest. He was a hit machine.
This was his biggest
Yeah.
single, apparently.
Yeah.
But when
And it
the-
was right around the same time that Queen were losing their American audience for Hot Space, and he was good friends with Freddie. And I wonder if the dancing he was channeling Freddie a little bit.
Freddie Mercury actually
He's- he's
sang on
directed.
one of his later albums.
Yeah.
sang a
Emotions
song
and
right.
Motion
on one of his
Yeah.
later records.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, dude, what are you doing, man? Look at this. Like, so of course he's going to blame the director, but like, his girlfriend warned him, "This is going to ruin you." Like. Wait, stripper pole. There goes. Get the stripper pole.
There could have been a record company
my
guy
God.
there telling the director, "This is what we want to do. We
No,
want to
no,
market them
no,
to girls."
Mark,
He
you're
just did the stripper
wrong.
pole.
You're wrong.
I
Mark.
think I'm
This
right.
is a video. Record company people do not direct videos. They don't tell
Oh
them.
yeah, they had
No,
a big
no,
influence.
dude.
Yeah,
Well, they
They
don't.
don't-
the
they
record
direct
company
them.
wanted to
He
market
was on
them.
Capitol. Look,
Yeah.
I saw him interviewed.
The record
This was-
company approved of this, or else they would
They
not
wanted
have
to
been
market
released.
them to
they were
girls.
behind it. Yeah, but
Record companies were behind all these videos. They wanted to market it. It's all about marketing.
the girlfriend warned him it's going to ruin you. Yeah,
Unless you broke up with him.
probably.
Because she thought he was no.
But when you think about it, it's like, what, dude? What are you doing? I mean,
Horrible.
I
But
don't-
it was all over MTV. You could not turn on MTV without that fucking video being on.
It's a very-
wait, and jump on the satin sheets too. By the way, like
Oh,
what's with the
yeah.
hook? What the hell's the hook doing there? Like, is that a meat hook? What is that? Like,
I think Christian Bale took this as the inspiration for his Patrick Bateman dance character in America before he kills Jared Leto. Look at it. Look at it. It looks like a hummingbird. He's got 17
look,
arms.
wait. Then he has to hop on the bed too. Like, he already went to the stripper pole. So like,
My God.
I would have done the bed first.
oh boy,
No.
yeah. Well, I think
know what?
the video starts out on there like where he kicks his feet up in the air like a girl or something, doesn't he?
Another thing about the sellout aspect is it's also the first video without the band behind him. It's all about Billy. Where's the band, right?
Well, no, he
You
brought.
know?
Well, that's a good point because it was about his band, but now it's all you, Billy. It's
Yeah.
all you.
I still think
really
it was the record
weird,
company
dude.
behind it,
yeah.
though.
Before this, his videos were just, he,
Right.
He was a
They were
rocker. He was a rocker for the guys and the
They
girls
were on stage with the
Guys-
band.
yeah.
Yeah.
Louis liked a lot of his early songs. I don't know if he's seen that video. He's like, I said, it's okay if you did. My
Yeah.
nephew who's in it. My nephew's about Mark's age, and he posted on Facebook. He goes, "Whatever happened to Billy Squire?" And I said he did a video that ended his career.
That's what happened to
Stopped
him.
it in its tracks. I mean,
And I still
Yep.
say to this day, Just Say No is one of my favorite albums ever. That's a great album. In the
oh,
Dark.
yeah,
It's one of your great albums ever
Yeah.
in the world.
I said one of my favorite albums ever. And it could be considered one of the best rock albums ever. But it's all personal opinion. It's a great album.
Okay. All right.
I mean, why are you disagreeing with me? Just
I'm not
because,
disagreeing with you. I said okay.
because he doesn't.
No,
he
I
doesn't
I
did
don't
like
say-
think of Billy Squire albums as some of the greatest albums ever
Oh,
made.
Just Say
you know?
No was a good pop album. It had really good, well-defined songs. In the Dark.
I know all
Stroke.
those songs. I know the one
And
with
it-
the reverse drums, Stroke.
And it hit.
And the Volga Boatman.
What- yeah.
And it was
yeah.
perfect for the beginning of the 80s where you had new wave coming in, but then you still had rock artists.
And it took
FM
them 10
radio
years to
took
get there.
Yeah.
It took them
and
10
then,
years to get there.
And it took them one video to
In
tear
fact,
it
that
all
song,
down.
if you listen to the words in the Stroke, that's about the record. That's about record companies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's just greasing you.
Right,
He,
yeah.
well, he was considered the sound was almost kind of heavy in a way because
Yeah.
it was kind of rocking. They were liking Remember they were liking parts of it to Led Zeppelin
Well, there was
yeah.
a Robert Plant sort of thing.
and
in
John
there.
and John Bonham. What's that one song? Lonely is
Stroke.
the night. Like the
Lonely is
drums
the
were
Night.
considered Zeppelin. So if
yeah.
they were considered Zeppelin-esque, whatever. I mean, I've tried to steal some Bonham's
Yeah.
bass licks. That's what you do.
I play every track on the album. To me, was just like I loved it. And then when he put out that video, I was like, I'm not listening to him anymore. It's like it just didn't. It just was like this isn't
Yeah.
Billy. You know, when one of your favorite singers or artists or groups totally just like they're gone. Like they went in another direction. That was
Well,
it.
That was a disaster because, like Lou said, after that video came out,
Yeah.
the male fans left. You know, the male fans left. Yeah,
Not the gay ones.
did.
yeah. You know,
Some liked them even more. I mean, come on.
but I remember
Let's
Lou,
stop it.
We gotta say the video's pretty hot.
Lou and I used to work with a guy named what was that dude's name? Mike.
Oh,
Remember, we worked at Cordet. He goes,
Mike Colonna. Mike Colonna. Mike Colonna.
Mike Colonna, the chess
Mike
king.
Colonic?
The chess king. Yeah.
He was the Shams man, wasn't he? The Shams man.
I remember he came up to. I think he goes, you know, Billy Squire is gay, right? And he thought that because of that video.
Didn't he say he
You know?
saw him at a party?
Yeah.
So I thought he said he saw Billy Squire at a party and said, "Did you know?" Not that, but
No.
A lot of people talk like that. I always heard that about Joe Perry
Yeah.
for years.
Or
Joe
if
Perry.
somebody-
maybe he
if
wore
you-
that outfit to the party.
Or if you wore a pink, maybe had a pink shirt on that he didn't get at Chess King.
Maybe
in
he
the mall,
maybe he
you
ripped
know?
his shirt off at the party and just flopped down on the bed out of sheer romantic exasperation. We don't know. We weren't there.
Yeah. You know, you ever see the BBC? You ever see Fawlty Towers?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Basil Fawlty.
Yeah.
There was one where like this snotty English kid was there with his parents, you know, real snotty fucking English kid. And, he's calling Basil Fawlty stupid and you're an idiot and whatever. And the father tries to get, well, okay, old chap. And the mother starts yelling at the husband, shut up, leave him alone. Like, oh, this is so English, man. You know, let's see. Hold on.
Evening, everything to your satisfaction? Oh,
Well, I don't like the chips.
sorry?
Look at this little
The chips
punk.
are awful.
Oh dear, what's wrong with them then?
They're the wrong shape and they're just awful.
I'm afraid he gets everything cooked the way he likes it at home.
Does he?
Yes, I do, and especially this pig's garbage.
Now, Ronald!
These eggs look like you laid them.
Ronald!
Look here, old chap.
Shut up! Leave him alone!
See? Shut up. Leave him alone. Like, really.
Spoiled mom.
The kid's
Mommy's
not
boy.
wrapped too tightly already, is he? You know, like,
No, I thought only American kids were spoiled like that.
oh, no. It gets
Music
even worse.
Alone. He's very clever, rather highly strung.
Yes, he should be. Well, these are proper French fried potatoes. See, the chef is continental.
Couldn't you get an English one?
Why don't you eat just one or
Be
two?
boiled.
dear?
They're the wrong shape.
Oh dear, what shape do you usually have? Mickey Mouse shape? Smarty shape? Amphibious landing craft shape? In the eye shape?
God, you're dumb.
Oh, now!
Is there something we can get you instead, Sonny?
I'd like some bread and salad cream.
To eat?
What the hell is salad cream?
They sell it in the English section of ShopRite. It looks like mayonnaise.
Well, that's what he told me. He goes, there's the bread and there's the mayonnaise. You know?
Okay, so music relish confessional here. Whenever my dad would try to discipline me like that, now I wasn't that kid. My mom would say, "Stop picking on Mark." So I was kind of like had that steal. My mom.
Yeah,
I was a
but
mama's boy. I
Would
was.
she say, shut up, leave him alone? You know?
No, she didn't say that.
Right.
She,
Like,
oh, Sid, leave Mark alone.
this little punk ass
Having a
kid,
hard
man.
time
Well,
at school.
there's the bread and there's the mayonnaise.
I said salad cream, stupid.
Ooh,
We don't have any salad cream. The chef made this freshly this morning.
What a dump.
This is very good.
He likes salad cream.
see how the father's scared of the
Well,
kid.
at least it's fresh puke.
He says that's puke. At least it's fresh puke. Like,
May I ask why you don't have proper salad cream?
oh, boy. Can you imagine being married to her?
He buys it only on special occasions, you know, gourmet nights and so on. But when he's got the bottle, he's a genius with it. He can unscrew the cap like Robert Carey. It's a treat to watch. And then, right in the thing.
Robert Kelly, was he? He was a soccer player, wasn't he? Like
No
an
idea.
old-time soccer player?
There on the walls, magic, mind you. He's a wizard with a tin opener too. He's got a Pulitzer
Watch
Prize
how he
for
gets
that.
his kid
he
back.
Can have the stuff in the saucepan before you can say haute cuisine. You name it, he'll heat it up and scrape it off the pan for you. Mind you, skill like that isn't picked up overnight. Still, I'll tell him to get some salad cream. I mean, you never know when Henry Kissinger's going to drop in, do you? Oh, sorry.
The father's laughing at it. The father looked happy.
Oh, yeah. Like, can you imagine being married to her?
What
Like,
made
oh,
John
boy.
Cleese? I tell you guys, what I love about John Cleese, if you ever watch A Fish Called Wanda, and it was here
Yes.
too, as Basil Fawlty, he took that, he made fun of English niceness, trying to cover everything up, covering it all.
Yeah,
you know, that's what made him the best.
Well,
He wasn't.
snapping him back.
Oh, A Fish Called Wanda. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You lost the
Good.
war.
Great show, and it only lasted one season, right, or two?
Two.
Very short, yeah.
Two.
but
There's
perfect.
only 12 episodes
Yeah,
of
but
the show.
all perfect.
Yeah.
Like nothing,
Yeah.
no duds. They just did what
It's
they
like
did.
it's like cable is over here. It's 6 shows was a season.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
eight if they get edgy, like the Penguin.
Yeah, or Netflix. You know, eight shows is a season in Netflix. What's the Penguin? I saw it on my list. I didn't watch it. What is
It's
that
really
about?
good. It's Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell was in the last Batman movie as the Penguin, but he's not a deformed. You know, he's a regular guy with deformities. But Colin Farrell plays him really great. It's an interesting character because
You mean it's,
you know,
it's
they
related,
haven't made up. You
It's
don't even-
related to the Penguin from the Batman thing.
yeah, but it's more of a realistic take on the character. So
I like
in
when they do that. They do
yeah,
a
in the last
realistic,
Batman movie, you know, he has a club called the Iceberg Lounge, but he's the thug, but he's a rising thug, but he's got deformities, you know. But they call him the Penguin of the club. But Colin Farrell's great though. But the show's
He's a
pretty
great actor.
intense. Have you seen it,
I'm
Mark?
just going to grab a bottle of water. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell Lou something. Speaking of this, you know, we're talking about 6 episodes in a season. My wife comes from South America, and she's a soap opera fanatic. But Spanish soap operas play at night, not during the day.
Okay.
I like one American soap opera. In high school and grade school, I watched General Hospital.
Okay.
I like it. When I told her that it was on for 40 years?
Yeah. Something
She's
like
like, why does America run these things for all those years? In Spanish soap operas, we do one season, and it's done. There's finality. Usually everyone
Really?
dies at the end. They all shoot each other or something, you know. But it makes sense. Like, just end it, you know. It's like,
Well, I guess
Yeah.
you know. I think, but these perpetuating these characters have gone on and on. Isn't it funny that that's a weird culture? I mean, do they still have them? Daytime. I mean, on
not
network
as
television.
many American. There are. General Hospital is still on.
Is it okay?
But a lot of the networks that were showing them have started showing either news or talk shows is a new thing now all day. Everyone's got a
Yeah.
talk
Oh
show.
yeah.
But there's still some. But the Spanish soap operas, there are tons of them.
Yeah,
And-
stories. Got to watch my stories.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing, you know. But again, they last one season, you know, and that's it. It ends, and she likes it because she gets ready for her new show, and she's got to watch the end of that show is ending, and again they all die. They all seem to like either punch each other or fake blood everywhere. You know,
Let's take a leap back in time here. Name some classic soap operas. You said General Hospital,
Young and the Restless,
Days of
that
Our
was
Lives,
my mom's favorite.
Days
All
of Our
My
Lives,
Children.
All My Children.
That's it. Peyton Place.
Peyton Place. Was that nighttime or was that daytime?
I don't know. I think my mother used to watch that when I was a kid.
Isn't that funny?
My mother was a big fan of Young and the Restless, her favorite, and they filmed one episode. They did some filming at what was the restaurant across from the Ridge Diner that closed up? The pizza. Marcy's in Park Ridge, New Jersey. They filmed it there. She was one of many housewives that ran down there at the barrier watching.
Oh, cool.
There was just a scene where I remember how the bar came out to Kinderkamak Road, the bar door, and they filmed like some guy coming out and the police watching him. You know?
Huh.
That was it, and they were there for that. You know, oh, the Young and the Restless is being filmed here.
That's all I can think of.
There were a lot though.
Yeah.
Just can't think of them.
I remember Divorce Court was on in the 60s.
No,
Yeah.
that long ago.
Mhm.
I thought that
believe
was a
so,
newer
yeah.
show. Wow,
I think it was on Channel 9.
Wow.
wow, interesting.
Ever have Elizibeth Cotton? I have like some folk compilations, and she's on one of them. And
No.
what she did was she played an upside down guitar, and I mean upside down, where she learned the chords inverted, and she would like do like reverse Travis picking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty strange how she did it, but I'll show you what I mean.
And then after I got that, then I started this one.
See, just two fingers, Travis picking.
Then you got to get the sound here by noting the string, the different frets, up or down.
Looks like a Martin, right?
You did this all by ear. You don't read music or
I don't read music. Never
She's from North Carolina. I know that accent.
I asked anyone to show me. They said, we can't show you because you're left hand. Change the strings and we'll show you.
And that was the other thing that I'm sure people noticed. They're probably looking at you and saying, my God, what is she doing? What she has done, how she plays, is that the guitar is upside down and the strings are the way mine are, except that she reverses it. So the low E string is down there, which is rather fascinating. Would you play Freight Train for us?
So this was a big hit of hers, Freight Train.
She's left-handed.
Yeah, and she's playing the melody with her thumb as opposed to the index finger, which is, right hand. She's playing, it's an upside down guitar. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Hendrix really did that, but she did. She did.
Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I'm going. When I am dead and in my grave, no more.
She's singing perfectly with her picking. The melody on her picking is going right with the vocal melody. She's totally synchro. I don't know that term.
Right, yeah.
With her
Yep.
playing.
But
And
she's playing upside down, you know?
Yep. And she is from North Carolina. I knew that was a North Carolina accent.
Yeah, she's from North Carolina. Yep.
Yeah.
We're in North Carolina.
She was born in Carborough.
Carborough, okay.
You know where that is? She
It's
died in
east of here.
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Perry. I'm going to have to start listening to her now.
Well, no, you don't have to start listening to her.
No, you send me on these deep dives.
I'm not
Don't
giving
you
anybody
dare
any
listen to her.
homework, dude. I'm not giving anybody any homework. Yeah.
You can't
Perry,
tell us
they're not
what to
giving-
do.
The last one to give me homework was a Mr. Limer.
Oh, God, come on.
Lou, he can't get over it, dude. He can't get over it.
It screwed
Just say
me
it,
up,
Mark.
man.
Just say it.
Sleepers. I'm like the characters in Sleepers.
Stop. Don't say that. You and my brother.
That's why I drink.
Wow.
No.
You might need a partner, Mark.
Oh,
Yeah, but that was
So
Elizabeth Cotton.
That's almost like Garbage Dump by Charles Manson.
What do you mean?
Garbage Dump.
It's nothing like that.
I know.
By Charles Manson.
Wah, wah.
I want to see Paul
I
Stanley's
love
wig
acoustic.
fall off again.
What's that?
I want to see Paul Stanley's wig come off again.
I like
saw
acoustic
this-
finger picking, acoustic blues finger picking.
I
like
saw
that.
this
Yeah,
video
yeah.
a
Here we
while
go.
ago, and I thought it was some little band. I didn't think it was really Paul Stanley.
I don't know if that's
It's
Paul
amazing.
Stanley.
It's Paul Stanley. Yeah.
Can we see his wig come off?
Yeah. They're playing.
And then he puts his hand up.
I look.
So is it-
Gene
wait,
Simmons
he's wearing a
doesn't
skull
flinch.
cap.
Well, yeah, he's wearing like a stocking on his head, I guess. Yeah. Like, maybe just
Oh my
got a
God. So
haircut or something. I don't know.
He flipped his head.
But it's a silly looking wig, though, to tell you the truth. I mean, look at that thing, you know?
Well, especially when you put it back on and you're adjusting it like nothing happened. And then he's
Yeah.
shaking his head. He's shaking the head to see if it doesn't
It's gonna
come off again.
dude. Yeah, no. You got to do
No,
like
it-
the Dennis DeYoung thing, like you said, with the vacuum seal that comes
It's
down.
gotta
from,
it's got to come
from
down.
Miraval.
Yeah, like in a machine. Like in
singer
this
wig
white,
falls
this
off.
white room.
Yeah, yep.
But was that Peter Criss on drums? Like we could carbon date that video to find out.
No,
when.
I don't think that was Peter. I think that was
Eric
whoever
Singer.
the other guitar,
listen.
whoever the Ace Frehley, the spaceman character was,
Or
and
Bruce Kulick or something, or
could be. Yeah.
I think we got to check it out because I'm on the TikTok page where it was loaded. Someone's claiming it's a tribute band, not them, but then someone else says it's him. The other thing that gets me is that stage. It seems small for a Kiss stage, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it does.
Not to me.
But wait, hold on a second. Don't say? But it says Kiss. Doesn't say Kiss on the kick drums, which is to me that's pretty bullshit. If it's a tribute band,
Yeah, no, this
or
is
it says
Kiss.
Kiss
This
of
is
something.
Kiss. This is Kiss. Yeah.
It looks like Gene Simmons.
Doesn't
It is
matter.
Gene
It's
Simmons,
hilarious nonetheless because a lot of these guys wear wigs on stage. Like they got day jobs and they go out like the heavy metal bands, the really long head, the death metal bands. A lot of them got wigs.
And there's
It's
those
hilarious.
fake speakers. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, those are definitely fake.
yeah, that's just for stage
wanna see
stage
Ace.
presence.
I got the
who's
real
on
thing,
drums.
baby. My hair ain't coming off.
Which cat's on the drums?
I don't know.
Gene has to get out of the way.
Oh,
That's
wait,
Peter Criss,
it looks like Peter Criss. Yeah.
and he's got a mic.
Well, it's the
That's
makeup.
when he was
It's the
playing
makeup.
trigger
And
drums.
the drumming's
yeah.
pretty crappy. So
Yeah, well, they
wait a
decided
second.
they triggered him. They had to trigger him.
Why is the sign
There's
though in
trigger
the back?
words.
It says Kiss Army, not Kiss. It says Kiss Army in the back.
That's the merch. That's where the merch is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. Watching these guys lose wigs on stage is hilarious. We don't have
Watching
one of
anything
Richie.
happen like that.
We don't have Richie losing his wig.
Well, I want to see.
I still say-
I want to see
because
Bruce
he went to
Springsteen fall
Miraval he went to the Miraval hair room.
again. Yes.
Well, I still say,
Oops.
oh, this one hurts.
Now look at Steve.
All right,
Look
so
at Miami
Nils
Steve.
gets the guitar.
Right. Nils grabs his telly. Miami Steve's watching.
Bruce Springsteen is falling on stage. That's what we're watching.
Yeah. Yeah. And Miami Steve with that Rickenbacker. Love those Rickenbackers, man.
Yeah.
I had one of those. Well, he's got the 2 pickup model. Yeah.
Hmm.
But Nils Lofgren grabs his guitar so that the crew can come and lift him up like Bruce, you know.
Well, she probably did a 4-hour or 3-hour
I
show.
like Steve Van Zant's laughing like good night everybody.
That's pretty funny.
Going back to wigs, there was somebody when Rainbow were a band. Do you know there was somebody his sole job was to keep Joe Lynn Turner and Richie's wigs separate? Because
Yeah.
God forbid Richie came out in Joel Turner's hair.
Well, Richie always had his own dressing room, so I don't,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But they got to be kept safe. So
Mark,
anyway,
do you want to read? You want to read this thing, Mark?
I can't read. Hey, if you like the show, whatever you're listening on, we appreciate it. Click like and click subscribe. But we're also available on a lot of outlets, and I'm going to list them here. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Amazon Alexa, Overcast, Podbay, Podchaser, Pocket Casts, Podcast Addict, Podverse, Listen Notes, TuneIn, Facebook when it's updated, YouTube, and Spotify.
And
Odyssey.
You
On Spotify,
missed Odyssey.
Oh, Odyssey. And on Spotify, we also have something called Music Relish Homework. And a lot of these songs we talk about are loaded up there. So those Shocking Blue song you heard about tonight, you could listen. It's open to the public. Just look for Music Relish Homework. You can listen to all these songs in their entirety. And we really appreciate the likes and the subscribes. And Perry, did we have any new subscriptions? I think we did, right?
Yes.
I don't know who it is, but yeah.
But great. Thank you. We appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
The growing and often copied podcast, Music Relish Music Relish Show.
Well, we're not counting, but yeah.
No. I do. I count numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We have 65 subscribers.
You are a Rain Man of subscribers.
On our way to 66.
Great
All
show,
right.
guys.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Always great.
Yep.
I learned something. I
Yeah.
learned a couple things tonight. And that's important.
And I think that Spotify page you mentioned has a lot of diverse, different things on it.
Yeah.
You know, we're not about metal or just punk or surf or rock. It's all kinds of stuff. Blues. We did blues
Having
tonight.
said that, if there's any metal on that page, it's for me. Because I'm the
True.
one.
True.
And Prague too. If there's any Prague, it's me. So
Well, what do you want to do, Mark? You want to go away?
yeah, go away.
Go away. I can't
Go away today.
I can't go away.
I can't go away.
You know, I was at a party playing my acoustic guitar the night, and some girl said, "Do you know any Oasis?" And I said, "Maybe."
You want to be the one to shag me?
Shave me.
Well. Just like a squirrel loses track of his nuts. I've lost track of the time, and we've come to the end of another great show. Amazing how an hour and a half to 2 hours can pass so quickly when you're talking about things we all love, music and movies. See you next week on the Music Relish Show.
I created the background music.
Yeah, the Music Relish Show.
Hey, there's
Okay,
Mark
I'm the
Lou
dog
Perry.
with hair.
Yeah.
Scruffy dogs.
That's me. I got a hairy tail. Just come on, I want a latte.
It's called the Music Relish Show.
I think she said, "Here's your Americano."
Thanks to our subscribers. We really
Thanks
mean
to
it.
our subs.
musicrelishshow@gmail.com.
Our
Send us an
subs
email.
come with chips and a drink.
Three-headed monster.
Jules Verne.
There's my old Rickenbacker.
I was looking at you. Rock and roll.
Rest and relaxation. L3.
There it is.
The L3 kid.
Come on, Colonel Potter. I need rest and relaxation. Boom.
I'll do Mark's part. Oh, thanks to new subs. Thanks to new subscribers.
Boom. Boom.
Thanks for joining our sub shop.
Buddy.
Oh, look.
The whole fame of
Rascal
great
and
dogs.
Buddy. Rascal and Buddy. Yeah.
It's a UFO.
That's an UFO.
Oh, what do we have here? Oh.
Here we go.
Boom. Call the music.
At least he didn't walk off stage like some of these idiots would do. He just kept singing. He had to do it.
The show must go on. How come he didn't have like technicians come put that wig back on his head like Bruce?
I don't
Bruce
know.
had attendants. How come all the money Kiss has He doesn't have like wig attendants.
I don't know.
We know Richie did.
Well, damn it, I would. Do do. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you
See
soon.
you next week. God willing.